Bear with me, I'm trying to get this thing to work. It is not working right now. Give me a moment, guys. Give me a moment.
Ignited, now you get excited. You know where I'm at, yeah. If I throw you vibe, yeah, can you catch yeah? I can love you right, yeah, all night, yeah. Take you to my house, yeah, on the couch, yeah. But you gon' have to book me in advance. I don't do it if it ain't up in my plans. I just spread love like jam.
All right, all right. Let me know if you guys can see me. Let me know if you guys can see me. Welcome. All right, there we go, man. Technical difficulties. I appreciate y'all showing up for this episode. If you guys are wondering, as you can see, Mark is not here. Mark is feeling a little under the weather, but let's be honest, man. Can you really blame him? Can you really blame him? If y'all watch the game, then y'all already know. You know what I'm saying? If I was a Cowboys fan, if I was an Eagles fan, I'd be a little under the weather too. So, but real talk though, shout out to Mark. Hopefully he feels better. Get well soon, brother. I need you for these episodes, especially the ones right after the Eagles get eliminated from the playoffs. I need you for this. So what up, Rob? What up? What up, Troy? Just in case anybody was wondering, the track that's playing right now, this is Saucy Downs, Big Mood. I would implore you to check out any of his projects, that I personally know, that I personally work with when it comes to music. And he's an amazing artist, man. Check him out. Yeah, man. So just so you guys know, man, it's going to be a quick one. Saying ain't going to be a whole lot of topics going on. Football starting to die down now. We have right now we have the Wildcard Weekend just got wrapped up. And we got the Divisional Round coming. So right now, this is the part of the year that everybody dreads. This is the part of the year where everybody's like, oh man, football's about to be over. You don't really care too much about basketball yet. There's going to be a little bit of a gap until April or May comes, But definitely, real quick for you guys that are here watching in the comment section, go ahead, share this. You guys are on the live right now. Share it, tag some people, do what you do. I'm a one-man wrecking crew right now. Hopefully Mark is one of them people watching. Mark, if you out there, I need you to go ahead and put this up on the Facebook group page and tag everybody. All right. So with that said, we're gonna get straight into it, man. Unless you guys got any questions for me, we're gonna get straight into it. All right, man. First topic of the night. As much as I would like to just start with the games, I can't. You know why? Because NBC celebrates grand larceny. So these fools decided to put the game on Peacock. Okay? For those of you that weren't paying attention, they had the Chiefs-Dolphins game as a Peacock exclusive if you wanted to watch the game. And this is the first time that I can remember in NFL history that an NFL playoff game was not on national television. And of course, there was a bunch of uproar before the game started, before anything happened, with the fans, the people speaking out and saying, "Now you guys want me to pay for a subscription so I could watch what used to be a free playoff game, or what should be a free playoff game." Okay. And then, of course, it's the one game that everybody wanted to watch before we found out about the weather, of course. But you're thinking to yourself, we got Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, they look beatable. You have the Dolphins. Everybody loves Tyreek Hill. You got the Dolphins in their explosive offense, and everybody wants to watch this game in the first round. But doesn't matter. Peacock gets the NFL exclusive for this particular wild card game. And yeah, no free trial. And real quick, I don't know if you guys realize how disgusting this is. My mother-in-law is how I have Peacock. I don't pay for it. You guys know how this goes. We found out, we were watching TV, and we found out that there was commercials on our TV. We were watching Peacock, and it's like, why Peacock got commercials right now? And then, my wife hit her up. She hit her mom up, and she was like, hey, yeah, they upped the price, the yearly price for Peacock without commercials. So once they realized they had the game, before preemptively, they raised the price to the commercial-free version. Okay, so that's what they did. That's what they did before going into this wild card weekend. So I already knew this shit was fugazi. You know what I'm saying? So they were hoping, hey, we can get people in. They're gonna watch the game. They could pay for the commercial free version. And if they do that, then we're gonna up the price on them before they even get here. They won't even know the difference. So yes, a whole lot of nasty work going on here by NBC and Peacock. But as you can read here, it says the Peacock playoff game gets 23 million viewers. It's the biggest live streamed event in U.S. history. So this is what they wanted. Okay, this is what they wanted. It's not the biggest live stream sports event. It's the biggest live stream event in U.S. history. Okay, so they were celebrating. They were celebrated on air. They had a bunch of posts on Twitter, and on the post, they decided to have they bragged about the numbers. They bragged about setting a record and creating history, and meanwhile, everybody on Twitter is just going in. They're railing on them. Hey, man, thanks for screwing us over. Just another thing to pay for. You guys are celebrating, digging in our pockets, et cetera, et cetera. So I just want to, my personal thoughts on it is this, man. This might be a problem because of the level of success that they've had. It now brings us to a point to where possibly they get more wild card games, and then they do more of this per se. They start taking it from just being here to being straight up like, okay, well, we're gonna do a random Sunday in the middle of the season to where we decide, okay, we're gonna stream this game. So it's just going downhill. Hey, what up, Mo? Where's Mark? Mark is a little sick. He's feeling under the weather. That sounds like a punchline. It's not. He's actually sick, which turns into a whole nother punchline because I think him watching the Eagles game made him physically ill. Okay. He got body pains. His voice is gone. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy out here. But yeah, send up a prayer for Mark. You know what I'm saying? Hope that he gets better. Hope that he gets well. Yeah. Hey, Mo, you missed the whole intro, bro. I said the same thing. I said I would be sick too. I was like, if you watch the game, then you know why he's sick. Okay. It was disgusting what was happening out there on that field. But all right, folks, man, that's enough about the Peacock stuff. I just hope that it doesn't become a trend in the future, but I fear that it is, man. They found a way. They found a way to get back to fleecing us and digging in our pockets. Okay, we have the wild card weekend blowouts. Okay, please in the comments, please let me know which games you guys wanted to watch the most, which games you guys were disappointed by, or just in general, which games you cared about the most. But I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Dolphins Chiefs game since that was the first one, man. Dolphins Chiefs, or not the first one, but it's the most important one. Dolphins Chiefs happened. Dolphins had nothing, man. Tua had nothing. Tua does what Tua does whenever he's not punching down on a lesser team or a weak defense. Okay, he went out there. He looked bad, but I can't even put it all on Tua. You know what I'm saying? I have to put it on all the players. I got to put it on Mike McDaniel. The Dolphins came into this game unprepared, looking like they were unprepared for the cold weather. I get it. I'll cut them some slack. They play in Miami, but at the same time, they looked like they didn't have no fight in them to try to catch balls, take hits. They didn't want to hit the Chief players when they were running down the field. It looked like from the first quarter on that they were just counting down the hours to when they could go back home to their warm bed. You know what I'm saying? Here's a fun stat for you guys. Shout out to Nick Wright. You know, he brought up a stat on the show before the game came up. He said they are 0-5 in below freezing temperature. Miami Dolphins are. They are also 6-13 whenever the temperature is below 70 degrees. They had a wind chill of -27. We already knew what this was going to be. So yeah, Miami looked completely inept. The Chiefs, I wish I could just sit here and praise them, but they were the only team that showed up to play. You know, I did not learn anything about the Chiefs in this game that I didn't know about them before. Rashee Rice is still the best receiver on that team, and as of right now, he's more reliable than Travis Kelce, and he's playing better than Travis Kelce. Okay, Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes, and that defense is still an amazing defense. So yeah, with that said, man, the Dolphins game, I don't know if you guys enjoyed it, but I did not enjoy that. You know, we're gonna stay in the AFC. Let's talk about the Bills. The Bills game that got postponed to Monday, which was the Bills-Steelers game. We already knew what this was, man. They didn't have TJ Watt. They got Mason Rudolph playing. First off, how are the Steelers even in the playoffs is my question. I don't know what's going on in the AFC. I don't understand what's going on, but there's no reason why the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, should have been in the playoffs. All right? But yet, here we are. You got Mason Rudolph playing in this game. No TJ Watt. Playing in another cold, freezing game. And what happened is exactly what we thought would happen. The Bills steamroll them. The Steelers kept almost getting to the quarterback, which doesn't count, especially when you're playing a quarterback like Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I will say this. I was surprised. The Bills actually decided that they were going to run Josh Allen, design QB draw plays and all that jazz. They actually said we're going to run him and not force him to throw the ball in the snow. It's the one thing I was concerned about with this game, of whether or not the Bills would be able to pull through. But yeah, they actually played it smart. So yeah, but it was another game that I was just like, okay, well, both of these games got out of hand before the end of the first half. So yeah, so both of these games got out of hand early. All right, so let's go on to another game. You know what? Let's get into the Cowboys game. Let's talk about the Cowboys game. So the Cowboys play the Packers. once again, game out of hand in the first half of the game. I really need to talk to these Cowboys fans. I really do. Because, I'll give you guys grace. Sometimes I do feel sorry for you guys. It doesn't matter how many times we tell you guys this is going to happen. You guys believe it's not. And then it happens. But this game in particular was a wild one. Dak Prescott. I had to listen to Dak Prescott MVP talks. Look at him. Okay? Look at what happened. He was atrocious. I don't want to hear people telling me about how he had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He didn't have none of that shit in the first half, okay? He didn't have none of that shit in the first half, okay? None. When you needed him to keep the game close in the first half of the game, so that they could prevent Aaron Jones from just running all up and down the field. You know what I'm saying? Anything to try to stop the when you needed him to make plays and keep the Green Bay Packers defense on the field so that you could get your defense rest so that they could possibly have a chance to stop what Green Bay Packers were doing. You couldn't do it. He couldn't extend drives. He couldn't get you first downs. He couldn't do anything. But it's not just on him. I didn't see any heart from any players on the Cowboys roster. I saw the largest amount of ineptitude in coaching from the Cowboys coaches. That's the worst coach game of the season for the Cowboys. Dan Quinn, and I have Cowboys friends, Cowboy fans friends, and they were telling me that Dan Quinn was playing man defense the entire season, and then going into this game, he decided to say, you know what, let's see what happens if we play zone. What happens is a bunch of broken plays where guys are running free with 25 yards of space between them and the next Dallas Cowboy defender, okay? Absolutely. You said, hold on, let me bring some of these comments up. So right here, you said Dan Quinn choked. Thank you, Matthew Petty, for the comment. Dan Quinn choked. I can't believe anyone would want him as a head coach. Look, we knew that Dan Quinn had issues as a head coach, but he's always been pretty solid as a defensive coordinator. So I'm not gonna really poo-poo him that much, but this was atrocious. This is his worst showing as a defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. He completely outsmarted himself and tried to come out here with a different game plan. You have a bunch of cornerbacks that play man defense, okay? That's what they do. You have a defensive line that if Micah Parsons isn't getting to the quarterback, you're not getting a pass rush. It's really simple here, man. And then you got your guys out there looking confused because they've never played zone the entire season and everybody's blowing assignments, okay? Dan Quinn is definitely one of the biggest. I think he's the biggest reason why the Cowboys lost. Mike McCarthy, second, for not having his guys prepared. They lost at home, man. They've been undefeated at home, 16-0 over the last 2 seasons. They lost at home. They weren't prepared. You're in your own house. You know what I'm saying? So Dan Quinn, number 1. Mike McCarthy, number 2. Dak Prescott, number 3. As bad as Dak played, he is number 3 on the list of reasons why the Cowboys lost. He could have played great. It wouldn't have mattered. They never even stopped the Packers. You know what I'm saying? That game is on Dan Quinn. Okay. Here we go. We got a Mo. Why in the world would you play zone when your defense already give up big plays playing man? Play zone gives Green Bay all the power. You could have abandoned zone after the first quarter. It was already out of hand after the first quarter. You could have abandoned zone at that point. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where certain coaches are terrible at making in-game adjustments. Mike McCarthy has always been terrible at in-game adjustments as a head coach. And then you have Dan Quinn, who is another person who has been terrible at in-game adjustments as a head coach, even though he's a defensive coordinator in scenario. You put those two together, and it's a recipe for disaster. Yeah, here we go. Texans beating Browns was my favorite, but Rams versus Lions was the best game of the week. We're going to get into the Rams versus Lions in a second. Say Cam Newton. Okay, Cam Newton not sounding too crazy after this weekend. Hey, look, I never refuted what Cam Newton said. I can tell you that. Like, Cam Newton, what he said was on point for the most part. But yeah, we already know, but I can't even give all that credit to Cam Newton. 3 years ago, we already knew who Dak was. We all knew who Dak was. You know what I'm saying? We all knew from the time that they signed him to that big contract that he wasn't worth that amount of money. So, but Dak continues to prove everybody, he continues to prove his critics right. All right. Here we go. Bill Belichick can save them. Okay. Bill Belichick can save them. Rob, you got a lot of faith. But we watched Bill Parcells. We've seen the story before. We watched the head coach, the no-nonsense, rules are rules, head coach with a stacked resume go into Dallas, try to have that relationship with Jerry Jones over control of the team, and we watched it fail. We watched it happen with Bill Parcells when he had T.O. and Tony Romo and Dez Bryant. I do not think Bill Belichick, his personality, his coaching style, I don't think that he fits in Dallas. That's just the way it is. Those types of coaches have never worked in Dallas, even in the few times that Jerry Jones has allowed it. Okay? And real quick, hey, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Mark C in the chat, that's Mark, okay? That's Mark. Okay, so he's here in spirit. You know what I'm saying? In words, in text. And I have to bring up his comment, you know. Only thing that made me smile all weekend. Mark, we're gonna get to your game. We saving it for last. I couldn't just jump right into it, man. I wish I didn't have to talk about it, but I do. All right. Dak, I saw you said stop. Yeah, you said stop it. This is a Dak special as usual. Mark, the first quarter of the game and the reason why the game got out of hand is absolutely on Dak. I personally think it's on Dak. I watched him play terrible. That interception he threw, he stared down CeeDee Lamb. Like, that one was a terrible one. You know what I'm saying? That pick six was horrible. You stared him down from the time that you snapped the ball. You had already been going to him. You know, they already know what the deal is. The DB sat on that. The safety came down. He came down. And then he stopped for a half a second because he was waiting for the ball. He didn't want to get there too early. He was waiting for you to throw that ball. He knew it was coming. Come on, man. You got to be able to see these guys. You got to be able to see the field. In the first quarter, you should not be already going into panic mode and reverting to just hyper targeting your number one receiver. That shouldn't be happening that early in the game. Yeah, I'm getting you some time in here. You hear? Dak threw 2 picks and he truthfully should have thrown 5. Packers kept dropping them. Yeah, you're right. Dak was terrible. That's what I'm saying. But I still think as terrible as Dak was, Dan Quinn's defense, that was crazy what was happening. They could have played the Washington Huskies And the Washington Huskies might have beat that defense this weekend. Okay. Yeah. Can't blame Mike for Dak choking. Okay. Rob says, I don't think you don't think Bill Belichick wants to be a GM no more. It's not about the GM. It's not about the GM. Real quick, because I want to get back to these. I want to get back to these games before I get too deep into this. But I'm gonna come back to this question a little bit. But I'm just gonna leave you with this: whoever ends up on the field is Jerry. That's a Jerry Jones decision. I've seen Jerry Jones walking around on the sideline during big games. You think Bill Belichick's gonna like that? He don't care if he's the GM or not. He don't want Jerry Jones on a field with him, walking up and down the sideline, talking to players. Nah, man. Out of here, man. He said Packers wanted the ball first and scoring the touchdown on that first drive was huge. Dallas plays bad from behind. Okay, it's enough about that. But we're gonna get into the other games. These last three games. So we got the Texans versus the Browns. Texans versus the Browns. This was my game that I wanted to watch this weekend. And I'll say this, man. The game was interesting for a little while, and then it wasn't. Joe Flacco went full Joe Flacco. They say never go full Flacco, I guess. But Joe Flacco turned into a pumpkin. Whatever metaphors you want to use for it, we know what happened. Somebody said, I saw a comment that said Joe Flacco looked like a guy that just got called up from the couch. That's what happened, and I'm not going to give him that. I'm not going to give him that, Mark. I'm not going to give him that because we praised him. We gave him his credit when he was playing well. We said, you know what, but this is what he does. He's Joe Flacco. He's good at throwing a deep ball. He has a big arm. We watched him hyper target Anquan Bolden. You give him a big receiver that can go up and go get it and has good hands, and we seen what that looked like when he was with the Baltimore Ravens. You know what I'm saying? We saw him actually play good with the Jets last year. So we gave him his credit when he was doing good and said, that is Joe Flacco. But the same way we gave him credit and said, that's Joe Flacco. He's just playing at a high level. Well, guess what? The one that showed up for that Texans game, that's also Joe Flacco. Okay? That's two sides to the coin, man. You get what you get. Okay? But, I mean, yeah, this is who he is, It's just part of what you get when you have Joe Flacco as a quarterback. This is why a lot of people felt like he was never worth the money. He has a few tricks, and he's really good at them. But once those tricks were out, that's it. You got 3 picks coming your way. But enough about Joe Flacco, man. CJ Stroud. Can't say enough about CJ Stroud. Can't say enough about DeMeco Ryans as a head coach. Man, this team has been exciting to watch. They've had some ugly games, some ugly wins. They've had some great wins throughout the season. It's very unfortunate that CJ Stroud got injured this season. If CJ Stroud doesn't get injured this season, number one, automatically Rookie of the Year. No competition with Puka. Also, automatically, in my eyes, he would have automatically been the front runner for MVP. Me and Mark had him as our front runner for MVP until he got hurt. So, but CJ Stroud is, and I'm going to say it again, I'm going to keep saying it until people listen. This is the best rookie season that I've ever seen from an NFL quarterback since I've been alive. It's very simple. A lot of guys have had great first years, but that first year wasn't their rookie season. This is the best rookie season that I've ever seen an NFL quarterback have. Okay. CJ Stroud, you're gonna get you're gonna see a lot of bandwagon fans. Somebody asked a question now that Bill Belichick is gone from the Patriots, where the bandwagon fans gonna go? They go into Houston. I'm just gonna be honest. But Houston, you ain't never seen the Texan fan in your life. All of a sudden, you're gonna see Texan fans all over the place. Watch. But nah. But the Texans handled business. Defense showed up big, and the offense went crazy. They got and that, talk about second half adjustments. They balled out in the second half. Okay, great coaching. So back to another game. Okay, because I don't want to stay on that. I mean, ain't too much to talk about it other than Joe Flacco going Joe Flacco. So next game is going to be, where is it? Lions-Rams. So we got the Lions and the Rams. That was a game that I thought that the Rams could take the victory. They could upset the Detroit Lions. It was a game to watch for me as well. I actually talked to my mom about it right before the game came on, a couple hours before, and I told her, she was saying that the Detroit Lions should be able to just beat up on them. I'm like, they should, but you can never count Matt Stafford out. You don't know which version of Matt Stafford you're going to get. You know what I'm saying? You could get the 400-yard, 4-touchdown Matt Stafford. And with receivers like Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, along with a running back like Kyren Williams, that's a dub. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of teams can really deal with that. That's the reason why they're in the playoffs when nobody expects them to do anything this year. So that was my thoughts going into the game. And then as the game was going on, I was like, okay, so Detroit's defense is stopping the run. That is something that they absolutely needed to do in order to compete in this game. I did. Now let's get down to it. Puka was going nuts out there, man. Puka definitely, to me, because of the CJ Stroud injury, I believe that Puka Nacua should be the rookie of the year. Think he had over 1,400 yards on the season. He just had himself almost a 200-yard game in a playoff game with 9 catches, I believe. Man. I saw the PI, and this is what I'll say about it. The NFL refs have been very, very across the board on not calling late game PI penalties. It's happened a couple times, I know, but not very often. Most of these games, when a pass interference happens or holding on a passing play happens late in the game, and it's kind of bang bang, or let's say it's anything but 100% clear, you know, they've been swallowing the whistle on that. So these guys have to understand this is playoff football. They allow the DBs to get a lot more physical in the playoffs, okay? And they've been swallowing the whistle all year when it comes to PIs late in games. You have to know that's a thing. Unfortunately, yes, you could say that's the difference between the Rams advancing and the Lions advancing, but that's just my thoughts on it. I think it's how they've been calling it all game. I mean, all year. So I really can't complain. I don't like it. People are like, well, do you want them to call every PI? Yes. If somebody's grabbing somebody, I don't care if it's the last play of the game. I want it called. You know what I mean? I see you, Troy. He said missed holding call on Detroit, but they're not calling that at home. And then they called it on us in the Super Bowl. Yes, they did. They did call it on you guys in the Super Bowl, which I thought was one of the wildest ones that I've seen. Like, I didn't expect them to call that, you know. But they did. But this is a new year, Troy. You can't hold on to that, boy. It's a new year. Y'all a whole different team and everything, man. If anybody should know that this is a different year than last year, it's Eagles fans. Sorry for that. Didn't mean to take a shot at you. All right. So speaking of Eagles fans, the final, the game that people were waiting for, I guess. I mean, for other reasons, people weren't waiting for this game to be played to see who was going to win. Everybody was preying on the Eagles' downfall. They knew exactly what was going to happen this game. No AJ Brown. They knew what was going to happen. You got Mike Evans. You got Mike Evans versus just anybody in that secondary. Mike Evans eats against everybody. And God forbid he ends up getting matched up with Bradbury at any point. That's what you're thinking going into the game. You say the Eagles just look like, they need a Snickers. They're not themselves. Yeah, no, everybody knew what was going to happen, man. Everybody was waiting for this game because they wanted to see the Eagles lose to a Baker Mayfield-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Hey, Christopher Blade Denham, where are you? You know what I'm saying? This is your time to shine, my boy. This is your time to rub it in Mark's face. This is your time to big up your boy Baker Mayfield. He did it. You know what I'm saying? 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. First Tampa Bay Buccaneer quarterback to do that in a playoff game. Like Tom Brady wasn't just on this squad. Your boy Baker Mayfield, he did it. And Baker we trust. Go ahead, nah. Talk to Mark. Get that off your chest, Chris. Get that off your chest, man. But all jokes aside, though, this game is exactly what we expected it to be, but worse. It was actually worse than we expected it to be somehow, which is crazy. Blown assignments on defense. The worst tackling I've seen from a playoff team. I don't even know how long. Absolute worst tackling. Y'all's defense, the way that y'all's defense was tackling was crazy. I'm saying the way they were tackling. They weren't tackling. I don't even know what to call it. But they was letting people walk wherever they wanted to walk. They was letting them run wherever they wanted to run. It's like, okay, let me tell you a little story, man. So we used to do, when I was stationed in Korea, cabs were your main source of transportation. If you wanted to go somewhere that was a far distance, we did this thing. We had a rotation sometimes. Before we had a rotation of who was paying for the cab, when a friends group goes out, we just had a situation to where nobody would say anything. You get in a cab and somebody, because we're all good friends, somebody would just be like, yo, I got it. You know what I'm saying? Now, I came up with a system. I came up with this thing I would do. I would pull my wallet out, right? And I would fumble with it. I'm reaching in my back pocket. It's taking a while. It's stuck in my pocket. I can't get it out. You know what I'm saying? I'm pulling it out. And then when I'm looking around, like it's taking me too long. And I get my wallet out. And then by the time I get my wallet out, somebody's like, I'm like, oh, you got it? Oh man, I got the next one. All right. That's what it felt like. You know what I'm saying? I call it the wallet trick. That's what they was doing out there. They was doing the wallet trick. They was out there pretending like they were trying to tackle, man. It was crazy. It was crazy. Like the whole world could see you don't want to tackle nobody. So that was horrible. Jalen Hurts. I do not know what he was doing. I don't know how he got that safety. I don't know what he was thinking on that play. I saw one of my friends say the Eagles have the same playbook that we used to run playing football at elementary school recess. That's what it looked like. And I watch and I'm like, maybe he's exaggerating. And then I watch Eagles fans post and say, we're running the same 3 plays. This is crazy. We don't have AJ Brown on the field, so we can't just run the play where it's send him down the field and throw to him. So now we're down to just 3 plays. So the play calling, the coaching, absolutely horrendous. Fireable offense, as I would say. The defense, fireable offense. I don't know what was going on defense. But the score was 32-9. And I felt like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should have had 55 points. So, you guys had Baker Mayfield breaking records on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the playoffs, knowing that Tom Brady also played in the playoffs for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's how bad the Eagles defense was. Okay? As a fan of the Eagles, if I was a fan of the Eagles, I would have a lot of thinking to do. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, when those players came out, everything leading up to this game showed me that the players were mentally out of it. They were shut down for the year. I think me personally, I think the players were realizing they're just in one of those work situations. Everybody been in those work situations, right? Your boss, you're smarter than the boss, but they're in charge. You know, you can't tell them no. They're going to ask you to do things. And since it's not unlawful, you got to do them or you get fired, you know. And once that happens to you for a few weeks, what do? You start checking out before you even cross the threshold of the doorway, man. The Eagles players were mentally checked out before they even came into the game. They looked mentally checked out when they were on the field, okay? They were just waiting for the season to end when they were out there on the field, okay? So as much as I would want to put this on the players, I can't. Eagles have a lot of things to discuss, but honestly, whether you say it's coaching, whether you say it's the coordinators, whether you say it's the GM, Mark, and whether you want to include the owner in this, none of this has to do with the players, except for Bradbury. Bradbury's trash. You guys got to get rid of him. He's garbage. But none of this has to do with the players outside of Bradbury. So, the front office needs to fix the front office in Philadelphia if they wanna have a chance to sustain some sort of a winning culture there. Because right now, coming out with the Little Giants playbook is not going to do it. Okay, look. Okay, NFC. Okay, disrespectful, Tamika. I know you're an Eagles fan. I mean no disrespect. Okay, I just said how I felt. I'm not taking nothing back. I meant every word that I said. And if you take offense to it, maybe you should file a complaint with the front office. All right. And then here we go. Robert Stevenson, man, they talking crazy here that Baker is taking them to the ship. I know you down there in Florida, Rob. I know you down there, bro. That's crazy talk. You got to tell those people to chill out. You got to tell them to relax. I will say this: Todd Bowles called an amazing game. Boy, he was sending all kind of blitz packages. Boy, that shit was wild. But yeah, no, they ain't going to the Super Bowl. They need to just relax a little bit. Bradbury is Matt Patricia's guy. Matt Patricia might not be there, man. What we talking about, man? Bradbury got to go. I don't care if it's Matt Patricia's guy. Matt Patricia ain't done nothing for the Eagles. He ain't do enough or anything for the Eagles to the point to where it warrants him being able to have a say in whether Bradbury stays or goes. I don't care if he's this guy. Hey, even the Little Giants beat the Cowboys. See, now he playing with you. You know what I'm saying? See, you playing with him, man. That's funny though. That's good. That's high quality content right there. You know what I'm saying? And Mark, we got only one thing to discuss. Howie and Jeff stop micromanaging and hire Jim Harbaugh. Ooh, okay, Mark. I see you. I see. Hey, look, man. I had a talk with Mark the other day, and I, this is his words. Okay, he said Jim Harbaugh is my guy, and I was like, damn, he's your guy for real. Like, yeah, I mean, he's my guy. He's my coach, and he's like, nah, he been my guy for real. So Mark has made it very clear what he wants to see happen. He said Jim Harbaugh is his guy. I can tell you, as somebody that knows him and known him my whole life, and we've had these conversations before we started doing our podcast all the time. When Jim Harbaugh was a Niners coach, Mark fucks with Jim Harbaugh. He's not being facetious here. He really does like Harbaugh. And if I was an Eagles fan, Mark, I would have the same sentiments. Because right now, the coaches that's on the market, no, sir. Other than Mike Vrabel, who would you want to see out of this class of coaches that have come available? You don't want to see any of them over there unless you're a Belichick fan. So yeah, nah, man. Hey, Rod, that's crazy, right? He said, "Wow, Mark." He said, "Coming from an Ohio State guy." Hey, look, sometimes real recognize real, Rob. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just recognize greatness when you see it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with it. You know who I hate? I hate Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? But I recognize greatness, sir. You know what I'm saying? I can dislike a team and all the players on it, and I can still respect the talent that's on that team. So I would like to think that Mark is a civilized enough human being to where he could see a player that is really doing his thing on a team that he hated, and still be able to compliment them or even say that they're doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? So don't be surprised in the future if you see Mark complimenting Cowboys players or maybe some of the coaching staff, something like that. Yeah, Mark is a real stand-up guy. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't really do the petty stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? He's an honest guy. Said, I hated that Michigan picked him up, but I love Harbaugh, Ross. See, he did. And Mark was with me when we agreed that he needed to leave San Francisco the way they was treating him. You know what I'm saying? And he thought that he should go somewhere where he was appreciated. So, yeah. Right now, before we get into our last topic, if you guys have any questions, any sports related questions, any NFL questions, please put them in the comments. Chat it up. Right now, I'm about to bring up the schedule, the playoff schedule for the divisional round. So, but before I get into the divisional playoff games, I want you guys to ask whatever questions you have, any comments you want to make, and we can finish up getting into that, and then get into the divisional playoff games to finish off. Said what? Let me see that. Dan Quinn might have threw that game to get the Cowboys head coaching job. That's wild. Hey, so I mean, sabotage or mutiny? What word would you use to describe that if that's what happened? That's crazy. All right. Mo says, is this a San Francisco versus Baltimore Super Bowl? Honestly, I don't know, man. I don't know. Mark, you're going to appreciate this. You're going to appreciate this, Mark. And I would not speak like this if Mark was here. Let's be very, very clear about this. San Francisco, Baltimore, Super Bowl. Right now, I still believe that I need to see Lamar do it. I need to see Lamar not get hurt too, as well. And the Bills, everybody, let's be honest, man. The NFL this year has been giving preferential treatment to certain teams, and you could really clearly see which teams they want to succeed. They early season they wanted the Niners and they wanted the Chiefs to succeed. You know, the Chiefs, when they realized their players couldn't catch balls, they just like, oh, you know what? Let's shift that favor to somebody else, okay? And right now, after the game that Josh Allen just had, boy, after the governor hooked them up and made it a state of emergency and did a travel ban, you know what I'm saying? After they hooked them up for the game to get pushed to Monday, and after Josh Allen performed the way he did, do you think the NFL, if you think they don't want him in a Super Bowl? Look, I don't put nothing past the refs either. So, yes, I think there's a slight possibility that the Bills could come out of the AFC, but I also think there's a slight possibility on the NFC side. Right now, that performance by Jordan Love was crazy. I don't think that's going to happen here, but the Bucs have a good enough defense, and if Todd Bowles is calling a game like that, that could cause problems for the 49ers. That could cause some real issues for the 49ers. If Kyle Shanahan decides to do his Kyle Shanahan special, which is to outsmart himself coming into a big playoff game. So with Kyle Shanahan known to do what he does, and with the Buccaneers defense, Todd Bowles defense, which is we're going to blitz you 65% of the time, and we're going to mix it up, and the blitz is coming from everywhere. The safeties, the cornerbacks, the linebackers, you're going to see somebody pull up to the line. The middle linebacker pulls up to the line, and then the other two linebackers, outside linebackers, pull up, and then you see the defensive end dropping the coverage. All that stuff, Todd Bowles brings, okay? That could be a problem if Kyle Shanahan decides to go off script. So there's a chance that those are the only two teams that I think that could make this not be a San Francisco, Baltimore Super Bowl. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that shit is like, we're not punching tickets yet. You know what I mean? These teams got to go out there and they got to get these victories. Okay. Do the Ravens choke this weekend too? CJ could light them up for sure. I very much disagree with you here, Matt. The Ravens defense is real, okay? You could say that the Browns defense was real. But I don't even know if I could put this on the Browns defense. The turnovers by Joe Flacco killed them. Okay, the turnovers killed the Browns, and once you get behind, then that changes things. Okay, it changes the confidence that the opposing offense can play with. It changes everything. So I'm telling you right now, the Baltimore defense is legit, and they have enough individual talent spread across the entirety of the field with an actual defensive coordinator that is capable of maximizing their potential on a consistent basis, unlike the Cleveland Browns. CJ Stroud is not going to light them up. That's not the word I would use. So no, I don't. I mean, you say Ravens could choke. Honestly, Ravens had a problem with putting the ball on the ground, and Lamar specifically has a problem with putting the ball on the ground, especially in the playoffs. And Lamar Jackson has a history of getting hurt in playoff games. Now, those are the only scenarios that I can see to where the Texans pull through and win the game. But I don't know, man. The Texans have been doing amazing things this year, so I'm not going to count them all the way out. Here we go. Mark says, also, if we can get Roseman to just focus on managing the money in trades, he would be an excellent GM. He has been doing. I'll say this, Mark. He's done a phenomenal job at, in free agency, and he's done a phenomenal job with these trades these last few years. So I'll give him that. You might be on to something there. Hey, the Super Bowl colors was enough for me. 49ers versus Ravens. Hey, look, man. You know which side I stand on. I have my team going to the Super Bowl already. So, Ravens, maybe. But yes. Yeah, every year we overreact to Wildcard Weekend. That is true, but every year is not like this. These are blowouts, sir. These are blowouts. These were bad. I mean, if you're good, I will allow overreactions this time, you know? If CJ win, that boy the truth. I think he's the truth already, Mo. But yeah, if he wins, he's the Messiah. Okay, that we're not going to be talking about. We can finally ditch the whole Pat Mahomes versus Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes versus Joe Burrow. That shit will be out of the window. It will be Pat Mahomes versus CJ for the future. All right. Mark says Todd Bowles didn't call a great game. Eagles just suck. I'm gonna need you to get that hate out your heart, Mark. I'm gonna need you to get that hate out your heart. Anyways, but no, seriously though, I don't think Todd Bowles called. I don't think Todd Bowles called the game very much differently than he would call any other game as far as the defensive play calling. This is what Todd Bowles does. This is why we talk about rookie quarterbacks having to play the Bucs, because if rookie quarterbacks have to play the Bucs, then they're going to see exotic blitz packages, and that's what happens. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna give you that, Mark. I'm gonna let that one rock. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let that one rock. He didn't call a great game. Okay, I think he did, but I think he always calls a great game, Mark. But that's why the Bucs defense is good. See, 49ers and Rams moved the ball on that defense, though. Matt, are we talking about the Eagles defense? I mean, the Ravens defense. Are you talking about the Bucs defense? Because if you talk about the Ravens defense, let's be clear. The best part of the Ravens defense is the fact that they force turnovers, they get stops, they shut down third downs, they play great red zone defense. You can move the ball and have a bad game. Okay, that's the thing. You can move the ball and have a bad game. I just don't lighting. If you say this person's gonna light them up, then I expect to see touchdowns. I expect to see scoring. I expect to see all that. You know what I mean? So, nah, man. The Ravens defense is not gonna. I stand on it, and I believe that CJ Stroud is the truth. I'm standing on this. He's not gonna light that defense up. We're gonna see though, Matt. I mean, it's a interesting opinion, man. We're gonna see. See, I just know the Niners are going to blow it in the end. Mark, I think it's not even that you know. I think you feel it. You feel like that's the way it's been. You just feel like things aren't going to change. I felt the change, Mark. You what? Look, since we switched to this platform, my underneath my name it says feeling like 94. Feeling like 94. Okay. I haven't changed it, Mark. I still feel that way. It's feeling like 94. It's feeling like our last Super Bowl. Great defense, great offense. I'm telling you, I feel it. You might not feel it because you're an Eagles fan and you got all kind of other emotions coursing through your veins and shit. It's clouding up your little network of clairvoyance. You know what I'm saying? But either way, Mo says Lamar is gonna have to run himself. Houston run defense is decent. Lamar gonna have to do it. No. Lamar is going to have to play a balanced game and make great decisions. He's going to need to keep the defense off balance by running every once in a while and making them pay for playing the pass too tough. And then he's going to have to rein himself back in and take advantage of the defense, playing to keep him in check. He's going to have to make them pay on both ends. If they want to pay attention to him running, he's got to make them pay for that with his arm. If they want to pay attention to him throwing the ball, finding Mark Andrews, finding Zay Flowers, he's going to have to make them pay by taking it off a few times. He's going to have to play a balanced game, man. He's going to have to play a balanced game. It cannot come down to him doing 14 design runs because the Ravens running backs can't run a ball. It can't come down to that. If it comes down to that, that's the recipe that leads to him trying to do too much. That's the recipe that leads to him fumbling the ball because he's trying to do too much. That's the recipe that leads to him taking 5 sacks in a game because he's holding on to the ball too long because he's trying to make a play. He cannot go into superhero mode. He can't go into throw the Ravens on my back mode. He has to trust his defense will get the job done, and he has to make great decisions. He has to be a game manager in order for them to secure that. We're not doing this. Bucks were bad. Baker should have thrown 2 picks. At least they were dropped. He threw a pickable ball. He threw pickable balls against the Eagles, for Christ's sake. That's the Mark that I know. Mark, fine. You can have it. Baker was still Baker. Okay? You got it. Baker was still Baker. Hey, you know what? The Eagles were out here selling on defense. You got it. Okay? That has nothing to do with why the Eagles couldn't score. But yes. Okay, so now we're going to get into these playoff games. We have the Texans versus Ravens. We have the Chiefs versus the Bills. We have the Bucks versus the Lions, and we have the Niners versus the Packers. As far as games to watch, I think all of these are games to watch, to be honest with you. I have the teams that I think that are going to win, that I feel like should win. Excuse me. I got teams that I feel that should win, but, I feel like all of these games could be upsets, Green Bay is capable of upsetting San Francisco. If they play like they did, in the first round, yeah. If Love can get hot like that and get in the zone, it can happen. Okay? Shit, the only team. Okay, look. Matthew Petty says the only team to beat the Niners are the Niners or some kind of bad injury. We can absolutely beat ourselves, okay? And you got to understand that, being a Niner fan, we can absolutely beat ourselves, and we can do that through getting too emotional. Even though being too emotional helps us win games, it can turn into something that it's not supposed to be. It could take us out of the game, and then also, Kyle Shanahan's play calling is always going to be a liability. If he sticks to the script and he gets up for every game, if he respects every opponent to the point to where he doesn't think he's going to put on a master class to show his genius, then we can win. But he's Kyle Shanahan. His ego is too big. He's always gonna have his moments where he feels like I'm just smarter than everybody. Okay, that's our kryptonite. Okay, so but let's start there. Niners Packers. I have the Niners winning this game. I think it's going to be a closer game than people give it credit for. Personally, we're playing at home. We're well rested. We have everybody. I just feel like there's going to be jitters, and everybody else has been here. The jitters is going to be with Brock Purdy. Okay, the jitters is going to be with Brock Purdy. Kyle Shanahan's walking into this game saying to himself, "We own the Packers. We owned them when Aaron Rodgers was here. You think we don't own you now with Jordan Love at quarterback?" Kyle Shanahan is coming into this game with arrogance. We're gonna have a shaky first couple of drives. Okay, we're gonna have that, but in the end, we pull this game out. Niners over Packers. Lions versus the Bucks. Oddly enough, I thought the Lions could lose last week. I think the Lions could lose this week. Everybody, the thing about Jared Goff is if he has a clean pocket, he plays great. If that pocket is dirty, if that pocket has intruders, if that pocket is pushed in, that man folds like origami. Okay, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers upsetting the Detroit Lions. Okay, that's what I have. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers upsetting the Detroit Lions. And I think that Mike Evans actually has himself a game. The game that we thought he was going to have this past week. Ravens, Texans. I have the Ravens winning this game. I think the Ravens defense is going to be a little bit too much for CJ Stroud. Look, when these young guys advance and show you their stuff this early in their career and they go on the roll, that they have, they get hot, they always get stopped in their tracks by a great defense. It happened to Lamar Jackson. It happened to Cam Newton when he was younger. It happens to everybody, okay? As much as I like CJ Stroud, I just think that he is also human. And everybody goes through this. Andrew Luck went through it. Okay, RG3 is different. We're not going to talk about RG3. RG3 is different, but all these guys go through it. All of these guys go through it. So, with that said, CJ Stroud is now going to have to take his medicine against the Baltimore Ravens. All right. For the last game, we have the Bills and the Chiefs. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. This is what I said. I know I've said a lot of things about the Chiefs and what they ain't and what they are, what they're not, all this other stuff during the season. But I'm gonna stick to what I said last year. I refuse to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I refuse to bet against Patrick Mahomes until he shows me he can't get it done. That's what I said before the season started, and that's what I'm going to stick with. I'm going to go with my preseason feeling and just say Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes. He's going to find a way. I got the Chiefs upsetting the Bills. So, 2 upsets, Chiefs over the Bills, Bucks over the Lions, and then I got the Niners and the Ravens advancing. Oh, no. Bucks are going to get embarrassed. Lions win 42 to 10. Here we go. Rob says, why is Joel Embiid only play against Joker Philly? Look, man, I don't know, man. And the year that he's having, he shouldn't be afraid of nothing, man. Okay, Chiefs get routed. Bills win 31-7. Maybe not. Honestly, I mean, that's what's supposed to happen, but that's why I don't believe it's going to happen. I still believe, now we're talking cold weather games outside. I still believe that the Chiefs defense, people are going to sit here and forget about the Chiefs defense all year long. They just watch what happened. They don't care. They don't care what happened in the first round versus Miami. They're going to say it was cold. Okay. Chiefs defense is legit and they are great at stopping the run, and they have great individual talent at all the DB positions, all the two cornerbacks, the slot, the nickel corner, the safeties. They're all great individually, okay, and they all make plays. I'm telling you right now, do not think if you think that the Bills are going to blow out the Chiefs 31-7, that's wild, disrespectful to the Chiefs defense. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now that, like, you might look. I'm not going to argue with you about the Bucs thing. You can have that. Chiefs not getting blown out. Absolutely not. Well, all right, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed the solo edition. The solo dolo edition of the eye test. I appreciate everybody that showed up. I appreciate you guys in the comment section, and I always appreciate the feedback and the interaction. I appreciate you guys' comments and questions and opinions, man. So, like I said, once again, Mark, feel better. I see you had enough energy to get up here and type, so I appreciate you showing up as well. Making it not so much of a one-man wrecking crew tonight. Okay? But until next week, please, everybody stay safe. Enjoy these playoff games. Don't subscribe to nothing that you ain't got no business to subscribing to. Don't support don't support these companies that want to fleece us for our money. But as Mark says, remember, the views and thoughts and opinions shared on this show are just ours. Don't belong to nobody else, and this is only entertainment. All right. Everybody have a good night. Peace.